Hi everyone, and thank you to those who have joined us today. Welcome to Know What to Expect NICE Inform CAD Integration webinar. I have just a few housekeeping items to review before we get started. So we apologize for experiencing some technical issues with the cameras, so you won't be able to see us, but don't worry, it will not impact the quality of this presentation. So all participants have been placed in listen-only mode with your microphone muted. New view in GoToWebinar, so please be patient with us if you have any delays or issues. There is a downloadable resource on NICE Inform CAD Integration on your GoToWebinar screen. You can participate by clicking the chat icon in the top right of your screen to submit questions or comments. Please click around to see what is available in the new interface. If we can get to the question you submit, we'll be sure to follow up with you individually. This session is being recorded and will be available to watch on demand afterwards. That link will be shared with you in an email tomorrow. It will also be posted to our YouTube channel and social media accounts. Okay, I'll jump right into the presentation now by introducing our experts. Okay, to start off, for anyone who is unfamiliar with Wilmac Technologies, we are a technology and managed services provider based in Rochester, New York. We also have hubs in Toronto and New York City. Our history is rooted in reporting technology, and we've been privileged to be serving public safety organizations for over 30 years now. I'm Lada Kozichok. I'm the marketing specialist at Wilmac Technologies, and I'll be moderating this session today. Our first speaker is John McDonnell, Wilmac's Public Safety Sales Director. John has been with us for almost 5 years. His experience in consultative selling and his customer-centric approaches is evident in his work with public safety professionals across various departments, including most of our attendees. His dedication to customer success and knack for building strong relationships have made him a trusted advocate in the field. Our second speaker is Mark Huber, John's counterpart in the public safety space. He is the director of our pre-sales engineering and has been at Wilmac for close to 25 years. Mark has incredible knowledge of the NICE Inform solution and will be pulling up our demo system periodically throughout this discussion to show you some feature functionality of NICE Inform CAD integration. So I'm passing it over to John now.
Thanks, Lada. Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us today. Sorry about the camera issues. I know you were looking forward to seeing Mark and I shining smiles, but we'll make it through. We'll push through. So like Lada mentioned, we're going to be talking about NICE Inform with CAD integration today. We're going to start out. We'll just review some high-level info about the integration because this can be sort of a new concept for a lot of us. And then we'll dive into the use cases, what we talk about at different agencies, and then we'll dive into compelling reasons of why this has been such a popular implementation and why we've seen so many implementations across North America. So something I want to make sure that you take away from this is the fact that you already own these solutions. They are extremely complex and in some cases pretty expensive solutions. So why not make what you already have work harder for you, right? For the most part, we're all NICE Inform users. You know the ins and outs of NICE, how it currently works. It records and stores your dispatch, your radio and phone calls. It's where you QA your call takers, and it's also where you reconstruct and distribute discovery. You also have your CAD solution. Your computer-aided dispatch really acts like the heart of the technology in your center. All your incident details are put into this and organized for you on the back end. So what I'm getting at here is both of these solutions do a lot for you independently. But when we can integrate them, get them working together, they can give you much more insight and make your day-to-day processes at your center a lot easier. So what is a CAD integration? Simply put, it's just that. It's a connection from your CAD solution into your NICE Inform. All the data that your CAD sees and all of its granular detail, we can now search for in NICE Inform. So right now, when we're searching for calls and radio transmissions, a lot of us will we'll search by time and date and pull up a large block of calls, right? Maybe we'll get into caller ID information, call taker ID information. But what would it look like if we could search by call type? Maybe a routine traffic stop, or we want to look at dispatch agency. We want to look at all EMS. Or what if we could search by CAD incident ID number and just pull up an entire incident? So the benefits that we really see are twofold. We see them in two specific aspects of your center. The first one is on the quality assurance side, and the other is on the discovery and reconstruction side. So for QA, we can really drill down and get into more granular detail that we haven't been able to in the past. We could QA by specific call taker. So maybe you want to come in and have a schedule just for your new employees. We could now do that. We could QA by specific call type. So maybe you want to look at all structure fires specifically. I don't want to QA by anything else today, just structure fires. We can look at that. Or what if I want to look at just specific dispatch agency, like we mentioned? Maybe I just want to look at EMS. We can set up our schedules now for just that. It really allows us to give more assistance to wherever we need to be paying attention, right? And then on the discovery and reconstruction side, we can really cut down on search and replay time. And I mean significantly, maybe fractions of the amount of time you're putting into it now. So that was kind of the high level info on CAD integration. I want to keep you on your toes real quick. We want to throw out a quick poll question to you regarding day-to-day processes. What processes in your center kind of eat up a lot of time? Is it quality assurance? Are we taking a lot of time to do a deep dive into quality assurance? Are we spending too much time on reconstruction and discovery? Do we have a pile of discovery requests sitting on our desks? Do we spend a lot of time in incident insights? Are we combing through different incidents to look at details that we don't usually see from a standard report on NICE Inform? Are we spending a ton of time on direct summary reports? Are we constantly taking data for our higher ups and our superiors? Give you another couple seconds on that. All right, I think we're good on that, Lotta. So big one, reconstruction and discovery. Sort of expected that. We know how time consuming it can be. We know the processes that most of us do to take care of that, and hopefully we'll glean some good info from the CAD integration today. Quality assurance, always a fairly large time eater, if you will. And then direct summary reports, maybe we could take that as a secondary webinar to do a deeper dive into direct summary reports after this. But getting into the specific use cases, I think we're going to start out on the QA side of things. As we mentioned in our previous webinar, if you attended, the theme was better QA. The more you QA, the better you'll be at it, the more likely you are to retain your employees and your new employees specifically. So let's use that as an example. If your agency has a new call taker or new dispatcher, it may be a good idea to keep a close eye on them, right? We want to make sure that the folks that need attention are getting the attention. So maybe when we come in for our shift, we want to QA by just our new call takers. That is now an option. Another use case. Say we have a mandate to QA just structure fires. Say we're a fire agency, we want to look at all structure fires or all 3 alarm fires. I don't want to spend time looking at standard EMS dispatches or anything else. I have a mandate that I need to look at these specific phone calls. So I want to come in for my shift and QA just by these phone calls. Another example, one that we're working on right now, we work with an agency that has a new EMS service. Obviously, being a new service to the center, we need to check on all of these dispatches, all of these interactions, and make sure they're going as expected. These are new types of calls to our people, and we're going to need to coach. We're going to need to tweak, and we want to pay attention to just these folks. Maybe we don't want to waste too much time on our top performers, right? We want to give help to the folks who need help the most. So I'm going to hand it over to Mark to give us a quick rundown of what Evaluator would look like with CAD integration.
All right, thanks, John. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen and go into our NICE Inform demo system. We're going to take a look at the Inform Evaluator, which you're going to use for your quality assurance. If you're familiar with the Evaluator, it does a great job of creating evaluation forms that you can use to evaluate your operators. And one of the more powerful features of Inform Evaluator is the scheduler. So instead of having to manually cherry pick through the calls to find a good one to evaluate, the schedule will automatically select calls for you. Now, when we add CAD integration to a NICE Inform system, that enhances the scheduling capability of Inform Evaluator by enabling you to be able to schedule the review of entire incidents instead of just individuals. So for example, without CAD integration, if you wanted to evaluate a structure fire or a domestic violence incident or something along those lines, you would have to go into the reconstruction module. You would have to manually locate all of the audio files associated with that incident and kind of bundle them up in order to do the evaluation. And those of you who responded to the poll that discovery is one of your time crunch issues, that is a very time consuming process. So if we have the CAD integration coupled with Evaluator, it can automatically assemble that incident for you. So I've created a schedule here by way of example for domestic violence incidents, and I've set it up to find all calls that meet this criteria. And we simply have to tell the system to look into the CAD records to find all incidents with that particular tag or incident type. The CAD integration to Inform then is able to automatically link the time frame of that incident, the call takers that were involved in that incident, as well as any radio talk groups that were involved in that incident as well. So you don't have to enter in all that criteria when you're creating the evaluation schedule. All we have to do is tell the system, I'm looking for domestic incidents, and it will use the CAD data to automatically pull all of that audio for you. So let's take a look at what that looks like when we bring up the evaluation form. So that if you're already familiar with Evaluator, this is the standard layout. You've got your evaluation form down here on the right with your questions and the incident information over here in the left-hand pane. So you'll see the audio files. So here's a couple of operator positions and the phone calls that came in on those positions. You'll see some radio talk groups here with the radio transmissions that came in within that time frame. But you'll also see some additional rows here as well coming directly from the CAD system. And these are the CAD incident reports. So if I click on one of these, you'll see over here in the information pane, it brings up the CAD data. And we're bringing in more than just the CAD ID number or a few select fields from the CAD. We're bringing in the entire CAD record and all of the fields that your CAD system has. So you have complete record from the CAD brought right into the NICE Inform system, and it's all bundled together with the audio for you to review while you're answering the questions on the evaluation form. So let me just pop this open into the Insight grid so we can see it a little bit better here and take a closer look. So at the top, we see the CAD events, and CAD events are things like notes entered into the system by the operator. It could be a dispatch event. You have a unit in the field being dispatched. You have them being sent en route. You have them arriving on scene and so forth. You can visually see those on the timeline here. There's a little notepad. There's the green arrows, and those are showing you a visual indication of different events out of CAD right on the timeline, so you can see where they occurred relative to other parts of the incident. And then below that, you have all of the CAD data. So this will tell you things like what agency was this assigned to, what were the disposition codes, what was the call type, and so forth. Really, whatever your CAD information, whatever you're used to seeing right in the CAD system is going to be shown down below there. So that kind of gives you a more complete view of what was going on here beyond just the audio. Now you see here, I actually have 3 CAD reports here, and this is an example of where maybe we got multiple calls for the same incident. Maybe it was an MVA out on the highway and 3 people called in from their cell phones saying that they saw the accident happen. So you linked those together in your CAD system to say, okay, these are all part of the same incident. Well, the CAD system tells NICE Inform that they're linked, and then NICE Inform can show you all of the individual CAD reports and all of the data on each of those reports all together in one place. So that gives you all of that extra information to evaluate the entire incident and save it in the system just like you would for an evaluation for one of your operators. So that should enhance your capabilities in evaluations quite a bit. John, I'll send it back to you to continue.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I think that gives a pretty good idea of what additional info we can glean from the CAD integration. I think it really comes down to being able to get more in depth to exactly what we want to look at, and get more granular via that CAD data, and really setting ourselves up for success when it comes to QA. So want to do a quick pivot. The next use case we want to talk about, and that is discovery turnaround, all around speeding up reconstruction. This can be a giant time saver. When we're talking to directors and centers all around the territory, it's something that we constantly hear. You saw it in the poll, but discovery takes forever. We have some of our customers who have employees just to turn around discovery requests. We have some that have full teams just to turn around discovery. Others have piles on their desk that they're not getting to yet or backed up in their emails. So for those of you who don't know, down here in New York, we have a fairly new discovery request timeline, which is just a couple days. So the request comes in 48 hours later, they need to turn around the incident as a whole. And I'm sure I can speak for all of our New York friends on here when I say it's a huge pain for everybody. And though there might not be, the exact same stringent mandates elsewhere, the fact remains the same that we can easily get backed up with discovery, and not only get backed up with the request, but the discovery turnaround can be an extremely tedious process. It can take a ton of times, especially when you don't have the right set of tools. So right now, for most of us, it involves searching through potentially, an hour-long incident, tons of calls, tons of radio transmissions just to find what you need, right? Oh, I manually click on this one. Oh, I need this. Manually click on that one. I don't need that. For hundreds of calls, hundreds of transmissions, very time consuming. So with the CAD integration, instead of searching file to file, call to call, what feels like a million transactions, we can now search by, you guessed it, CAD ID, CAD incident number, whatever your CAD solution typically calls an incident, we can now search by that. So I wanted to show this beautiful photo of a whiteboarded incident. This is a major incident at a major center down here in the Midwest US, but unfortunately, this is what discovery can look like for a lot of us. It is chaotic, it's pretty unorganized, and I don't know this, but I'm assuming this took a serious amount of resources to build this, a ton of manpower and a lot of time to build this, right? So this is sort of one end of the spectrum, and on the other is searching by CAD ID number. Just type in your CAD incident into NICE Inform, and whoop, the solution just about builds it for you. Maybe a couple radio transmissions you need to find, but uh, leaps and bounds better compared to what we're looking at here. So before we jump back into the demo system, I wanted to keep you on your toes, throw another poll question at you. This one around discovery specifically. How much discovery would you say you're doing a month? How many reconstructions are you being requested on per month? I know we have a handful of different sized agencies here, so it might vary, but just want to get an idea of how much time we're putting into this right now. Give you a few more seconds on that. All right, I think we're good on that, Lada. Obviously, a discrepancy of sizes. We have some different size agencies here, but for the folks doing 250 plus a month, or even 50 to 150, that's still a lot of discovery requests to take care of in a month. And if you don't have a full team dedicated to it, it could eat up a lot of resources. So obviously spending a lot of time on this. I'll let Mark show off what that CAD integration in reconstruction looks like.
All right, thanks, John. Back to sharing my screen with the demo system. So as John was describing, when you're doing discovery on a typical incident without a CAD integration, it probably looks something like this. You're putting in a time frame from this time to this time, and you're doing a search across all resources, or at least many resources, and you're coming up with a timeline with many hundreds of pieces of audio that you now have to start to pick through to determine which are part of your incident and which are not. So if we add the CAD integration to Inform, then that enables us to eliminate searching by date, time, and resources and simply search by a CAD incident number. You're going to get this new little box over here on the left called CAD search. And in there, you're going to put in here the CAD incident number and hit search. No need to enter any resources or any date time range. The system gets that from your CAD and knows it automatically. So all you need is the ID number. So after I did the search, you'll see what comes up is a little bit shorter than what I saw before, a lot less audio files that I need to pick through, and it adds those CAD data bars, which we were talking about in the evaluator. Same data available here as you were seeing in the evaluator right here in the information pane. You can pop that out if you need to look at it more closely. And that can dramatically reduce the amount of time that you have to do the put into discovery, since the CAD system already knows what operator positions and what talk groups are associated to this incident. Inform can take that information and automatically do the filtering for you. So now you have a very short list of things to go through, and then you can move these to your organizer and save it in there and then move on to the next discovery phase. So hopefully reducing the amount of time it takes from hours to minutes to do your discovery. So that was just kind of a basic CAD search, and that's probably all you'll need most of the time. But just to be thorough, we can do a CAD search here even if we don't know the incident number. I can enter in a date time range for the CAD and find incidents within that time frame. Of course, I just picked a range, which we don't have anything, but we can find CAD by date if you're not sure what the incident number is. And it'll come up with a list for you down in the box below here, and then you can just find the incident in here and bring it up. You can also add some additional search fields over here if you want to search by a particular incident type. For example, we were looking by way of example at domestic violence incidents when we were over in the evaluator. You could search for any of those types of codes out of CAD to filter down in this screen as well. So you have the ability to really search through all of your CAD records right from within NICE Inform. So you're not bouncing between two different systems or having somebody else look up the CAD reports and print them out and put them in your inbox. And some of you are probably familiar with how that process works. So hopefully this can save you a lot of time when you're doing your discoveries. And John, I'll hand it back to you.
Great, thanks. Short and sweet. And I, I think that's the point, right, of the CAD integration. This is supposed to be making discovery very quick and easy for you. So hopefully you can see how fast you can turn around an incident there. I think we're running a little bit ahead of time, but I saw a couple questions come in. Not sure if we wanted to take some time to review a couple of those real quick.
Yep. Okay, so we'll move into the question section now. So please submit any questions you may have in a comment section on the top of your screen. If you miss any, we'll follow up with you individually afterwards. Okay, I see two questions. So the first one, we have Hexagon as our CAD. Does NICE Inform integrate with that?
I'll take
Mark,
that
you
one,
want to take that
Lotta.
one?
Okay.
Yeah. So Hexagon, yeah, absolutely. We do have an integration pre-built for Hexagon CAD. It's been out for a number of years. There's a lot of different CAD systems out there. There's at least a dozen that I've run into over the course of the years. And NICE has pre-built a number of integrations for the major CAD vendors that are out there, including Hexagon, Premier One, and a number of others. And we also have some generic connectors as well for some of you who might have some of the lesser known CADs, or we've even run into some centers who have their own homegrown CAD systems or from a local company who custom developed it for them. So we have generic connectors that we can use to connect to pretty much any CAD system that's out there. So whatever you've got, chances are we can get this connection for you to bring this benefit into Inform.
Great, thanks, Mark. And So the next one is when you have a list of radio transmissions and you're pulling one incident, is there a way to tag the transmission with the incident number and have it saved?
Tag the radio transmission with the incident number. So the CAD system should be doing that for you. At least it'll tag the talk group, or if you have a conventional radio system, the radio frequency. That should be pulled over automatically. Individual transmissions do not get tagged, but you will see, if you do have like a trunked radio system, you will see radio ID number data along with your radio transmissions. So if you know which radio IDs were involved in the incident, you could easily see that in the list and mark those as part of the incident, so that you don't have to even listen to the audio. You can just see it by the radio ID number. I hope I understood your question and answered that correctly.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
And the next one, I've heard this is related to NG911. Is CAD integration with those mandates?
I'll take that one.
Thanks, John.
NG911, of course. Didn't think we could go 30 minutes without talking NG911. But I can understand where the confusion's coming from. I'm guessing this is coming from the Ontario team. But when NG911 was first coming out, the mandates weren't exactly clear. There was a lot of brainstorming going on, I guess. And there was talk of CAD integration into NG911, but it is not a mandate. It is not an NG911 mandate. So it is not necessary to be NG911 compliant. That being said, obviously we are deep into NG911 and we are having more conversations regarding CAD integration than we have ever before, potentially due to the Ontario funding sources. You can upgrade different parts of your center included in that, but short answer, no, it's not an NG911 mandate, but we are talking about it more than ever.
Thanks, John. So that's all I see in the question section right now. If I missed any, we'll follow up with you individually afterwards. John, do you want to?
Yeah, I have a quick, yeah, thanks, Lada. Hopefully, guys, there's something that you took away from today. If you want to learn more about CAD integration and how it would fit specifically into your center, you have Mark and I's info. Please don't hesitate to reach out. It's a pretty sophisticated integration, and there can be a ton of benefits. I know we reviewed a handful of different use cases, and I would be surprised if they all fit your needs in your center, but maybe if there's one, if the discovery you think, or a specific QA reason, let us know. I'll reach out to everyone individually to connect personally, but if there's any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to Mark or Lada or myself. That's all I got, Lada.
Thanks, John. So we also have our last poll question. Okay, here it is. Which of the following would you be interested in learning more about in future webinars? Please check all that apply. So we have discovery request deep dive, reconstruction and distribution, redundancy and resiliency, what to do with legacy recording data, and open Q&A.
We've done a handful of webinars over the last probably a year, and we're just trying to make sure that we're getting exactly what you guys want to talk about. So let us know what you think, and we're happy to, whatever we land on, we'll absolutely do a webinar about it next in the upcoming months.
Okay, thanks, John. So thank you to everyone for attending our session today. We're looking forward to hosting you again soon for another informative session. Just a quick request that when the session is over and you exit the platform, please submit your feedback by answering the 2 survey questions that pop up on your screen. If anyone has additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to John or Mark. Thank you to John and Mark for leading the discussion today and sharing their knowledge, and thank you to everyone who joined us. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.